Excellencies, please, for those who are not yet seated, kindly take your seats as we have the formal start to this closing ceremony. Excellencies, honorable ministers, distinguished officials, panelists, participants, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm Ben Dotse Malo. I'm your MC for this event. All too soon, we have come to the official end of these great exchanges, the sharing of valuable solutions over the past few days. So I welcome you to this high-level closing and award ceremony of this 2016 Global South-South Development Expo. This has been a most productive week, full of hard work, great discussions, and the sharing of many valuable solutions and experiences on the theme South-South Cooperation, Enhancing Innovation Towards Achieving the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development Goals. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, may I now invite you all to please stand for the national anthem of the United Arab Emirates in recognition of today being National Flag Day. Please stand. Please resume your seats. We wish the government and the people of the United Arab Emirates a happy, happy Flag Day. Excellencies, all the deliberations and activities of this expo have been captured by the Zayed International Foundation very creatively in this very short video, beginning with the preparations leading up to this Global South-South Development Expo 2016, followed by a fresh compilation of the activities of this week's Expo. Could you please take a moment and enjoy? I think that was wonderful, and we want to give a round of applause to Dr. Meshgan Alawa and the team from the Zayed Foundation. Please put your hands together for that great work, creative work. Thank you, Excellencies. Due to the fact that today is Flag Day in the United Arab Emirates, with festivities taking place all across this country, our closing and award ceremony is going to be short. I will now proceed to invite the President of the UN General Assembly High-Level Committee on South-South Cooperation, and Ambassador, as well as Permanent Representative of Uganda to the United Nations, Dr. Richard Nduhura, to come to the podium to give his closing statement. Please, a round of applause as you welcome him.
Your Excellency, Mr. Komate Kamaranavin, Ambassador of the Kingdom of Thailand to the United Arab Emirates, Dr. Patrick Gomez, Secretary General, African, Caribbean, Pacific Group of States, Mr. Hoy Shedek, Envoy of the Secretary General on South-to-South Cooperation and Director of the United Nations Office for South-South Cooperation, Professor Dr. Mohammed Ahmed bin Fahad, Chairman of the Higher Committee Zayed International Foundation for the Environment, Dr. Meshagan Alawa, Secretary General Zayed International Foundation for the Environment, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to express my sincere appreciation to the Zayed International Foundation for the Environment for graciously hosting us this week on behalf of the government of the United Arab Emirates. I would also like to thank the United Nations for South-South Cooperation for organizing this year's Global South-South Development Expo, facilitating the exchange of knowledge in the application of South-South and triangular cooperation towards achieving internationally agreed development goals by a diverse set of development partners. This year's Expo has afforded us the opportunity to witness the development impact of South-to-South and triangular cooperation on many fronts. We have heard from representatives of government, civil society, and the private sector who are committed to finding, innovating, and developing solutions to the challenges facing their communities. The many partners who have traveled so far to present proven Southern development solutions are testimony to the growing significance of South-South alliances in attaining the Sustainable Development Goals. As President of the High-Level Committee on South-South Cooperation, I am pleased to see how the United Nations Office for South-South Cooperation, in partnership with other United Nations organizations and agencies, have rigorously responded to the expectations of member states in supporting the use of the Global South-South Development Expo as a forum for the establishment and strengthening of closer linkages among Southern institutions and centers of excellence, as well as regional and sub-regional economic groupings, to serve as an effective tool for operationalizing the plans and goals on South-South cooperation as set out by member states in the 1978 Buenos Aires Plan of Action and the Nairobi Outcome Document of 2009. The United Nations system continues to play a catalytic role in facilitating knowledge exchange, creating synergies between various actors, and enhancing collaborative networks that are key to achieving development outcomes. Over the last 4 days, we have heard that the contributions of South-South cooperation exceed the realm of development cooperation. We learned of the important nexus between peace and security and development, but we are reminded of the absence of a South-South cooperation framework in the realm of peace and security, despite its enormous contributions and potential. We also learned about the efforts and success of a number of developing countries in improving public service delivery through effective public sector reform and enhancement of management practices. This reinforces the fact that despite many criticisms, developing countries care about governance issues, and South-South cooperation offers meaningful solutions in improving transparency, accountability, and responsiveness. I am grateful to have been part of this important event together with all of you, which has truly served to showcase development solutions created in the South to address the cross-cutting challenges presented by Agenda 2030. I thank you all for listening to me.
We thank you very much, Ambassador Nduhura. And now to speak on behalf of the group of 77 plus China, it's my pleasure to invite His Excellency Mr. Komait Kamalanavin, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Kingdom of Thailand to the UAE. Your Excellency, the podium is yours.
Your Excellency, Richard Nuhura, Permanent Representative of Uganda and High-Level Committee President on South-South Cooperation, Dr. Patrice Gomez, Secretary General, Africa, Caribbean, Pacific Group of States, Mr. Hoy Shondik, Envoy of the UN, Secretary General on South-South Cooperation and Director, UN Office for South-South Cooperation, Professor Mohammed Ahmed bin Faik, Chairman of the Zayed Foundation, Dr. Meshkin Al-Anwar, Secretary General of the Zayed Foundation, Excellencies, distinguished participants. I have the honor to deliver the statement on behalf of the Group 77 and China. At the outset, please allow me to express my appreciation and congratulations on behalf of the group to the government of the United Arab Emirates, in particular the Zayed International Foundation for the Environment, in cooperation with the United Nations Office for South-South Cooperation, for the successful convening of this very important forum to exchange views and experiences on South-South cooperation. Mr. Chairman, distinguished guests, the Global South-South Development GSSD Expo this year comes at a crucial point in time as we embark on our collective journey towards a sustainable future. Following the adoption of 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, as well as other development-related global framework. During the course of 2015, namely the Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction 2015 to 2030, the Addis Ababa Action Agenda, and the Paris Agreement under the United Nations Framework Convention for Climate Change, and the recent adopted new Urban Agenda. It is critical that we increase our efforts to maximize the potential for South-South and triangular cooperations towards this regard, so that no one and no developing country will be left behind at the end of our journey. The Group of 77 and China are of the view that in our collective efforts to implement and to achieve the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, as well as other commitments, the growing importance of South-South and triangular cooperation must be recognized, but at the same time must not be overemphasized, considering its role as a complement to and not substitute for North-South cooperation. And through South-South cooperation, we, the developing countries, can manifest our solidarity among one another. Mr. Chairman, as the platform for systematic showcasing of development solution, this GSSD Expo, under the theme Enhancing Innovation Towards Achieving the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, has proven to be able immensely contribute to the networking among developing countries for address common development challenges by bringing together result-based solutions and evidence-based initiatives along with various stakeholders during the course of the past 4 years. Discussion during the course of this expo had revolved around how we could enhance and implement effective capacity building initiatives in developing countries to support national development objectives geared towards the achievement of 2030 Agenda, as well as how to facilitate the application of science, technology, and innovation to development through enhanced South-South knowledge sharing in these areas. Following this expo, we should be strengthening our focus on how all of us can take those discussions forward and bring action, cooperation, and collaboration with meaningful results. One example of such cooperation has been demonstrated during the course of Thailand's chairmanship of the Group of 77 this year, in sharing with member countries of the group the philosophy of sufficient economy guided by His Majesty King Bhumibol Adulyadej of the Kingdom of Thailand as one of the homegrown approaches that can contribute to the implementation and achievement of the 2030 Agenda with a balance between the social, economic, and environmental dimensions of sustainable development. And Thailand stands ready in providing technical cooperation and application of this philosophy through South-South and triangular cooperation framework. Mr. Chairman, distinguished guests, as we journey towards 2030, another key milestone in the evolutions of South-South cooperation will be reached in 2018, when developing countries will yet once again celebrate the 40th anniversary of the Buenos Aires Plan of Action for promoting and implementing technical cooperation among developing countries. The very basics of the Nairobi outcome document of the high-level United Nations Conference on South-South cooperation, which define the underlying principles of the South-South cooperation. The 40 years of work on South-South cooperation has laid a strong basis for the Group of 77 to lead forward. In this regard, we look forward to engaging constructively in this upcoming event to bring about fruitful outcome that will center countries' ties and strengthen the solidarity among developing countries. In closing, I would like to express, again, our appreciation to the government of the United Arab Emirates for the warm welcome and hospitality to all delegations present here, as well as those people of the United Arab Emirates, including our friends in this lovely city of Dubai. And once again, may I also extend my best wishes on the occasion of the National Flag Day of the United Arab Emirates. Thank you very much, and shukran. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Excellency Komait Kamala Naveen. Now I would like to call upon the Secretary General of the Africa, Caribbean, and Pacific Group, ACP, Dr. Patrice Ignatius Gomes, to give his closing statement, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Good afternoon and peace to all. Your Excellency, Ambassador Duhura, President of the United Nations High-Level Committee on South-South Cooperation, Your Excellency, Professor Dr. Mohammed bin Fadha, Chairman of the High-Level Committee of the Zayed Foundation, and Madam Secretary General of the Zayed Foundation, Your Excellency, representative of the Group of 77 in China, our dear friend Jorge Tidiek, distinguished Ambassador of the United Nations and leader of the UN Office of South-South Cooperation, dear friends. The last 4 days, Dubai turned into the capital of the Global South, with intense and critical debates, sharing knowledge, experiences, and best practices, forging and enhancing deep and long-lasting partnerships. This makes us, as the African, Caribbean, and Pacific Group of States, renew our dedication, and therefore our first words of appreciation must go to the authorities of the United Arab Emirates, as well as to the Zayed International Foundation, and that indomitable, indefatigable Secretary General that you provide with us. Madam, congratulations. The ACP Group is very appreciative of your invaluable contribution in forging the present and future of the Global South. We thank you for the marvelous ambience and working conditions in which this Expo Dubai 2016 has taken place. Indeed, the Expo 2016 has asserted itself as an important platform which contributes significantly to shape the fate of our countries of the South, and more importantly, of our citizens, who are the ultimate goal of our joint endeavor for a better future and well-being. As we concentrate on development of the South based on implementation of the SDGs, what can we retain as we come to the end of Dubai Expo 2016 and leave with a touch of sadness this beautiful city? Among others, 3 points come to my mind. First, great interest, hope, and commitment to South-South and Triangle cooperation as an innovative approach for development cooperation. The various panels showcase solutions for sustainable development already taking place in all development sectors in countries of the South. In sharing these experiences and best practices and knowledge, we learned more from each other on how we can better face the implementation of the SDGs. Perhaps we all ought to think about how we can put in place more adequate transfer modalities for development solutions. Secondly, building partnerships, aggregating synergies in implementation of the SDGs in a strategic and far-reaching way must be pursued. It was clear from the discussions that no country, no goal can be successful alone. Thus comes into play the principle of complementarity and subsidiarity among countries and at various levels. Thirdly, there must be resource mobilization. All sources and mechanisms of financing have to be explored with an important and catalytic role of domestic and international public finance for development, as well as from the private sector for investments and how these become transformed into the structural transformation of our economies. Concessional finance should also be allocated and continued to the most vulnerable countries, the LDCs, the landlocked developing countries, and SIDS, while new mechanisms have to be found for the middle-income countries. While realizing that South-South cooperation is not new as a concept, but a reality taking place on the ground and an implementation modality, we recognize that there is a scope to deepen the knowledge and the practice, to better clarify the space and the role of our different but complementing organizations. Indeed, major challenges in implementing SIDS in the context of South-South cooperation are still ahead. The reinvigorated ASP group, with its 79 member states in 3 regions, 3 continents, stands ready to contribute in a more effective way as we pursue sound partnerships for the realization of Agenda 2030. I thank you very much.
We thank you very much, Secretary General of the ACP, Dr. Patrice Gomes. Excellencies, next to address us is Mr. Jorge Chediek, Envoy of the Secretary General on South-South Cooperation and Director of the UN Office for South-South Cooperation. Senor Chediek.
Your Excellency, Ambassador Richard Nduhura, President of the United Nations General Assembly High-Level Committee on South-South Cooperation, Ambassador and Permanent Representative of Uganda to the United Nations. Your Excellency, Mr. Komati Kamalanavin, Ambassador and Permanent Representative of the Kingdom of Thailand to the United Arab Emirates. Dr. Patrice Gomes, Secretary General, African, Caribbean, and Pacific Group of States, ACP. Professor Dr. Mohammed Ahmed bin Fahad, Chairman of the Higher Committee, Sayed International Foundation for the Environment. Dr. Meshgan Arawah, Secretary General, Sayed International Foundation for the Environment. Excellencies, distinguished dignitaries, colleagues, friends. On behalf of the United Nations, of the Office for South-South Cooperation, and indeed of the United Nations system, I would like to thank the Sayed International Foundation for the Environment for generally hosting this year's Expo on behalf of the United Arab Emirates. I add my thanks and congratulations for the quality of the support provided and the warmth of the hospitality we received. We also like to thank especially the Sayed Foundation Senior Management for its leadership and the efforts to make this Expo the success it has been. We would like to express our heartfelt appreciation to the President of the High-Level Committee, the Group of 77 and China, the Secretary General of the United Nations who sent us his message to the opening ceremony, and to the organizations that participated here. Just within the UN, I can mention UNDP, FAO, IFAD, ILO, IPCIG, ITC, PAHO, UNEP, UN Global Compact, UN Women, WFP, UNDP, UNCDF, UNESCO, UNFPA, UN Habitat, UNICEF, UNIDO, the Economic Commission for Western Asia, the Office of the High Representative for Landlocked and Small Island States, WHO, WIPO, and others like the World Bank, the OECD, DAC. And I want to say, when I was reading this, I said, people outside don't understand all these words and acronyms. And what I say when my children even ask me, Father, what are all these words? And when I say to them, is all these words are efforts of trying to get together, sometimes with complicated acronyms and with complicated words, the will of people to work together to build a better world. So that's what all these acronyms represent, and we're very proud that they're all represented here in this event. We would furthermore like to express our most sincere gratitude to the National Director General and the representative championing South-South and triangular cooperation in their work, and a piece of an announcement. We're going to continue working with them after this closing ceremony because we changed the order of the event. I'm pleased to inform you that this edition, the 8th, has been the largest so far among the expos. More than 90 member states were represented there. 650 participants, including CEOs of private sector, civil society, and academic organizations, plus over 40 media representatives, 70 booths that showcase impressive work of many entities at the exhibition floor. We had 16 solution forums highlighting contributions of to sustainable development in the areas of poverty eradication, food security, public partnerships, green technology transfer, economic growth, green innovation, industrial sharing, global health, youth empowerment, peace building, and others. And in addition, we are in the middle of the high-level forum of national directors of development cooperation that is showing the leadership that we have in this field. This effort has truly been a collective response to member states to engage and support South-South and triangular cooperation to achieve the new ambitious global agenda we have. To all the moderators, panelists, interns, and each participant, thank you. Thank you. We organized this expo for you, and you have made it a great success. We will work with you in the coming months to ensure robust follow-up for what we have all worked here. In this regard, we have already agreed with the Sayed Foundation, and we have taken their generous offer to work closely with our office in publishing a special edition of our series, South-South in Action. This one will be called UAE Solutions, South-South and Triangular Contributions to Sustainable Development. This publication, which will be multimedia, will highlight the leadership of the United Arab Emirates in the sharing of South-South cooperation for effective development, and will include a collection of all the solution strategies and lessons learned here at the Expo. Finally, I want to wish my entire GSS Expo team for their hard work and professionalism, and I want to especially highlight my colleague, Rohel Nugid, who has been one of the great organizer of this event. We hope to return to Dubai in the very near future. And as I said in two of my previous interventions, this country, the United Arab Emirates and Dubai in particular, are an example for the South. So we are very proud that in addition to hosting all these exchanges, we did it in a country that is an inspiration to all of us. So we live here not just with the energy of the meeting, but also with the inspiration that we got from working in this great country. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias. Shukran jazilan, Senor Jorge Chediek, Director of the UN Office for South-South Cooperation. Excellencies, distinguished participants, panelists, dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, we are coming almost to the end of the closing ceremony. We have one more speech to go, and the presentation of some awards and plaques of recognition. But it will be remiss of me at this juncture not to acknowledge the presence among us this afternoon of the chairman of the Higher Committee of the Zayed International Foundation for the Environment, Professor Mohammed Ahmed bin Fahad. Can we acknowledge him for all the hard work that he has led with the foundation? Professor Mohammed Ahmed bin Fahad. We thank you very much, Professor, and once again, happy Flag Day to you, to the government and the people of the United Arab Emirates. You have shown us great hospitality, and your great efforts with the preparations and everything led us to this successful conclusion of this 2016 Global South-South Development Expo. We also want to extend special thanks to the indefatigable, hardworking and dedicated power who has been driving everything here, Secretary General of the Zayed International Foundation, Dr. Meshgan Alawa. Please. Please forgive me if I have to mention again that on the opening day, we, the younger ones, were here at 1 a.m. And it was inspiring and encouraging to see that she was here with us even that early morning when she should be resting. So Dr. Alawa, you are an inspiration, and may I request you now to come and give us your closing remarks.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Before that, I would start my remarks in Arabic. I would like just to welcome everyone here. And as we are celebrating our Flag Day, so we would like this closing session to be in Arabic, where we would like to have the closing session, and today especially in Arabic. سعادة جورج شدق مفوض الأمين العام ومدير مكتب الأمم المتحدة للتعاون فيما بين بلدان الجنوب، أصحاب السعادة الوزراء والسفراء المشاركون، الأخوة ضيوف البلاد الكرام، الأخوة الأعضاء اللجنة العليا لمؤسسة زايد الدولية للبيئة، السيدات والسادة، وعلى رأسهم سعادة رئيس اللجنة العليا لمؤسسة زايد الدولية للبيئة الأستاذ الدكتور محمد بن فهد. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. يسعدنا في ختام فعاليات الدورة الثامنة للمعرض العالمي للتعاون فيما بين بلدان الجنوب 2016 الذي أكمل حلقاته 16 بنجاح كبير في ضيافة دولة الإمارات العربية المتحدة ممثلة في مؤسسة زايد الدولية للبيئة، إيماناً منهما بأهمية تعزيز التعاون فيما بين بلدان الجنوب وتسخير الابتكار لتحقيق أجندة التنمية المستدامة لعام 2030. أن مؤسسة زايد الدولية للبيئة هي إحدى المبادرات لصاحب السمو الشيخ محمد بن راشد آل مكتوم نائب رئيس دولة الإمارات العربية المتحدة رئيس مجلس الوزراء حاكم دبي، وأهم أهدافها هو توفير منبر حر لتبادل الرأي والمعلومات العلمية والخبرات التي تدفع بعجلة التنمية المستدامة عن طريق التخطيط السليم وإيجاد الحلول العملية لقضايا مختلفة، منها التغير المناخي ونقل التكنولوجيا لتطوير الصناعة والزراعة والنمو العمراني. أيها الحفل الكريم، إن الحلول العملية التي شاهدناها في هذا المعرض الدولي والتي وفرتها المنظمات الدولية ودول الجنوب صاحبة المبادرات الرائدة مثل الإمارات والبرازيل والصين وحتى وغيرها من الدول، وحتى بعض الدول كذلك في قارة أفريقيا مثل توغو، لهي دليل على نجاح التعاون فيما بين بلدان الجنوب والتعاون الثلاثي. وعليه فإن رسالتنا الأساسية لدول الجنوب هي أن تكون لها الإرادة وتجتهد في تسخير مواردها وكوادرها المتاحة، وستجد الدعم من المانحين ومن الدول صاحبة الخبرة في المجالات المعنية. إن القيادة الرشيدة والإرادة السياسية القوية تشجعان وتحفزان الكوادر المؤهلة وخاصة الشباب، حيث أن كان التركيز عليهم في أكثر من جلسة من ورش العمل وورش الحلول المصاحبة لهذا المعرض، وذلك لمد جسور التعاون وجمع المعلومات اللازمة لاستقطاب الدعم التقني والمالي لتنفيذ مشاريع لها نتائج ملموسة لدى عامة الشعب. وهذا بدوره يروج للفكرة ويشجع الآخرين ليتوالى النجاح على طريق التنمية المستدامة والقضاء على الفقر والجهل والمرض، والتي كانت هذه الموضوعات محور ومن أهم موضوعات ركز عليها المنتدى المصاحب للمعرض العالمي. وبحمد الله يسعدنا أن نعلن أن هذا المعرض الدولي والعالمي للتنمية فيما بين بلدان الجنوب قد خرج ببروتوكول وإصدار إلكتروني بعنوان حلول الإمارات، مساهمة التعاون فيما بين بلدان الجنوب والتعاون الثلاثي في تنفيذ أجندة التنمية المستدامة لعام 2030، ويكون ذلك وفق جدول أعمال واضح وفاعل لتطبيق ما نص عليه اتفاق باريس وأهداف التنمية المستدامة، والتزام كل طرف بما يليه فيما يخص تقديم الدعم المعرفي والتكنولوجي، خاصة في مجالات الزراعة والصناعة وإدارة الموارد الطبيعية. وهنا أود أن أكرر ما دعمناه منذ الافتتاح، بأنه يمكن للدول المتقدمة كذلك أن تستفيد من تجربة دولة الإمارات العربية المتحدة في دعم دول الجنوب، خاصة في مجالات تطوير استخدام مصادر الطاقة المتجددة ومحاربة الفقر ودعم التعليم والخدمات الصحية. بينما تستفيد دول الجنوب من مبادرات الإمارات في تطبيق أسس ومعايير الاقتصاد الأخضر والتنمية المستدامة في خطط التنمية الاقتصادية والاجتماعية، خاصة في مجالات ترشيد استهلاك المياه والطاقة والنقل المستدام والبناء الأخضر والإنتاج الأخضر. ختاماً تتقدم مؤسسة زايد الدولية للبيئة بأسمى آيات الشكر والامتنان إلى مقام سيدي صاحب السمو الشيخ محمد بن راشد آل مكتوم نائب رئيس الدولة رئيس مجلس الوزراء حاكم دبي لرعايته ودعمه الكبير لاستضافة هذا الحدث الهام، والشكر كذلك موصول لمكتب الأمم المتحدة للتعاون فيما بين بلدان الجنوب على تعاونهم وشراكتهم المثمرة التي نأمل أن تستمر ويكون لها أكثر من شراكة مع مؤسسات ومنظمات أخرى كذلك في الدولة. ولوزارة الخارجية بدولة الإمارات ووزارة التغير المناخي والبيئة على تعاونهم ودعمهم لمؤسسة زايد الدولية للبيئة لإنجاح هذا الحدث الهام. والشكر لكم جميعاً لتفضلكم بالحضور والمشاركة، متمنين لكم رحلة سعيدة في العودة إلى بلادكم، وسائلين الله تعالى أن يوفقنا إلى المزيد من التواصل والتعاون بين بلدان الجنوب من أجل مستقبل مستدام للبشرية جمعاء. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Shukran Jazilan. Shukran Dr. Meshgan Al-Awa, Secretary General of the Zayed International Foundation. Apologies to those who did not get the translation equipment to follow through the entire speech, but we will try and get the English version and have that emailed to everyone, accept our apologies. That brings us to the end of the remarks. We just have a brief award ceremony right now, and it is my honor and pleasure to call upon the Director of the UN Office for South-South Cooperation, Mr. Jorge Chediek, and also Professor Mohammed Ahmed bin Fahad, please to come up stage for the quick presentation of awards. Please give them a round of applause as they come.
We are pleased to give an award in recognition to the partnership that we have established with Sayed that culminated in this stage with the Expo. And I'm pleased to give you one that is a symbolic flame, a flame of freedom and a flame of peace. So, thank you.
Mr. Chediek and Professor Mohammed Ahmed bin Fahad, if you could stay upstage, we would like to invite Dr. Meshgan Alawa, because just when we thought it was over, our hosts feel very strongly that they need to present some awards to the final speakers at this closing ceremony. And so now we will have to call upon all the distinguished speakers. Ambassador Dr. Richard Nduhura, please to come up for a plaque of recognition from the government and people of the United Arab Emirates. Please, let's have a round of applause as the presentation is made. We thank you. Thank you. Next, may I call on His Excellency Mr. Komait Kamala Naveen, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Kingdom of Thailand to the UAE, to receive his plaque of recognition and appreciation from the government and people of the UAE. We thank you. May I call upon the Secretary General of the ACP, Dr. Patrice Ignatius Gomes, to also come up onto the podium and receive the plaque of appreciation and recognition, please. And last but not least, the Secretary General's Envoy for South-South Cooperation, Senor Jorge Chediek, and he looks surprised there. Can we have a round of applause for Professor bin Fahad and Dr. Meshgan Alawa? Okay, we are inviting the higher committee upstage for a photograph to conclude this meeting together with the distinguished speakers. Can we have members of the higher committee of the Zayed International Foundation to come upstage for a final photo shoot, and that will conclude our closing ceremony, please. Excellencies, distinguished dignitaries, delegates, participants, as the photographs are taken, I want to seize this opportunity to say shukran jazilan. Thank you very much to everyone for your time, your patience, your understanding, and all your valuable contributions. Let me just stress that from here, those who were in the Directors General Forum will return there for one more session. Oh, okay. Professor bin Fawad, please address us. We thank you. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I think now is late afternoon in the day, so everybody is, I think, is a little bit tired and this, but I supposed to learn some of the South languages of the countries, so that when we are speaking in English or French or this, we are going to the north. So, but I have to go into the south, and the language understandable by everybody. Ambassador of Thailand and the South representatives, the delegates, we are very proud in United Arab Emirates that we work together for hosting of the 8th South Conference and Exhibition Expo. Now, our dreams is big, and all the South countries must to be, their dreams is big. So we can not only working in meetings, and that we need things for the South to be in practice. We discussed in the press conference so many issues, so many ideas. But here, while the speech is going in the conclusions, it came to me also some ideas might be great for the future, not for today. We need to think with the Office of South that why we did not establish a supporting Congress from the South countries. An office representing members from the South. So that will be with the support of the South office. It will give ideas. It will give so many initiatives for a future planning. This is one thing. The other thing that always we need that see the South office. This is only a recommendation that in the future, in the end of each conference and expo, we announce the elected country and the elected agency who will run the next conference. And we elect the person who will be representing that event, because that will give that enough time for the delegates, for the different members in the countries to prepare themselves for the next event. Also, I think it will be a good thing that we create a medal that it's with the year it will be that's going on and on and on to be the elected president will be handled from the previous president, so that will be that the president will be that for the next event. And the country who is hosting this, the previous president, will be given a small medal, so that will be known after 10, 15, 20 years, 100 years, that one day that country and that agency and that this, it was the president. I think this will be a touch of memorandum for everybody. This idea of South Cooperation Office is a great idea. And always we are learning from each other. So I think we can do a big dreams in reality if we work together. Without working together, no change will happen. So I wish for everybody that they spend a good time between us and United Arab Emirates, Dubai. And we are looking in the future. We are ready, and after some also experiment in different countries, we will run another show in bigger scale, in more issues, which is supporting our regions, the South regions. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Shukran. Shukran Jazilan. Professor Mohammed Ahmed bin Fahad, thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this marks the end of the closing ceremony. Once again, many, many thanks to you. The session is over, but the Directors General Forum in hall number D.